Point I'm trying to make is that when we ask a question that requires a yes or no answer, right? So, and you follow it up with a discussion which says either one of the two. So it's either going to be yes or it's going to be no. For in this case, Neha ma'am was right. So the answer was yes, isn't it, Arpita? Full marks to,
Yes, ma'am. Full marks to
yeah.
Neha, ma'am.
Yeah, great. So, but the point here is that a simple yes or no question, consider this. If you would say, why do you think, and justify it with the reasoning, why do you think it is so? So then that requires a little bit of more thought from the learner, right? And when a person is involved with the content, rather than attempting a question on fluke, saying yes or no, when you know that you have put in a little bit of more thought, so why am I saying yes? And why could this be no? And then you come up with a summary of answers. Then you have even more engagement. I think Ajita had a good example about memory and something. The more involved you are, what was that, Ajita? You had
Yeah,
an anecdote.
uh, sort of, but I actually just wanted to say that when we have anything linked to the memory, because memory is a very funny thing. So you will try to remember or recollect. You, in the sense, learners basically will try to remember and recollect as per whatever is there in the memory. So you might not actually remember what you assume or what you're anticipating, but many a times, if we include certain such application based questions which are there on the experiential part of what we undergo, then the reflection becomes more relatable, and that is what the reasoning will start coming in, is what I think. The
Yes,
anecdote, let us keep it for some other time, I think, because we have a
yeah,
lot of things to be done today.
yes, yes, yeah. So yeah, I just wanted that link that we tend to remember things where we have invested a lot of either emotion or effort on. So it is good to include whenever we have a yes or no question. Um, use as yes or no questions only when it's absolutely necessary. And if we need to use them, it is good to always ask what was the reasoning that led to the yes or no question. Because that way we have a foundation for whatever opinion that we are going to give. So that is the takeaway for this example that we wanted to say. Yes. So should we look at the next?
Next one? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So I think we would love to hear your opinions and do a peer assessment sort of. Do you think this is a good reflection spot question? From our part,
Yeah.
yeah,
Even when we say a good or a bad, we actually don't mean to say good or bad. We actually mean to say that when we put it in terms of transaction, teaching learning transaction, if we say it is a good one, there is nothing personal, or if we say bad one, even then there is nothing personal about it. So please don't take it that way. It's just that how would the learners be responding to such questions? And that is the sole purpose why we have anonymized the examples that we have taken up. So if this question is asked that why communication is important in our life, do you think that it satisfies all the criteria of being a reflection spot? You can start answering. If you all want, we can, just try to recollect the checklist that we had given, we had shown.
yes. So this was part of a submission on communication processes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we had most of the things right.
Yeah, that's the best part of this
It
group,
was
that
good. Yes.
uh, it's like, out of all these submissions, obviously after having such a range of teaching experience, nobody would have done it all wrong, right? But these are only small parts where things can become more specific and more focused. So let us just see. Well, it was a single concept, isn't it, 11? It was like perfectly
Yes,
bang on communication process.
yes.
Not one word here, not one word there. Nothing like shifting from one concept to the other and it's going all
It
everywhere.
was very focused. Yes, it was. The script was.
And because it was focused, it was well with it could very well fit within 10 minutes. There was a reflection spot. This is the reflection spot.
And a very cute icon to go with it.
Yeah. But
A visual cue. Hmm.
yeah. But the thing is, this is the problem area about its placement. Because the next part, because yeah, there were not too many of them, so it was also being optimal, and it also was followed up by anticipated responses. But the only place where it could have been better was its position. So, Ila, why do you think that we are saying that its position could have been better?
Yes, so this particular reflection spot came up somewhere around the sixth or seventh slide,
Six,
if I'm
six.
yeah, if I'm right. Yeah, and there was quite a lot of content that had gone in before this. So ideally, this question should have come somewhere a bit earlier on, and which served as an icebreaker, right? Because all of us sort of perceive that communication is important in our life. So when we say why, it is an ideal icebreaker question. But is it a reflection spot where it ties up with the content of the script? So that is where we had a question.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Like today, we also started our session with an icebreaker by asking you about your experience of developing an LED. It was actually not a reflection spot because what would you have reflected upon? We were not asking you any specific something based on some content or something. So even we used the icebreaker today, and this is perfect for an icebreaker because like Ilavanil had said that yeah, I mean communication definitely will be important, right? So how can we make it very specific and focused? So if it is an icebreaker, then it would have come right in the beginning, but then it's not a reflection spot, so we need a reflection spot later. So reflection spot definitely, because this whole LED was about what communication processes. So if it is about a communication process, so now I don't come from a communication background, so I may be wrong, but this is what we were just thinking, that could it be more specific, and can the question be, because it is a process that was being explained, and it also talked about the content also talks about culture and how the process of communication starts. So could it just be like who actually should initiate communication, or does culture like culture impact the communication initiation? So there are many cultures where um, wrongly women are not supposed to be the initiators of communication or whatever. So could that be a focused question for reflection, and then could that be like taken up for a variety of answers? Now, this is something that we have thought, but the communication experts, like people who come from that particular subject and domain, would actually be in a better position to see whether this question would be better.
yeah, it would be nice if you could think of how you could rephrase even this question to, yeah, to
Oh,
make it more specific. Okay, yeah.
yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
Santani ma'am. Yeah.
And please do let us know and do think about how you could make it more specific so that that would fit in and add that engagement point to the session, yeah, to the script. Yes,
Sanjani ma'am, do you want to unmute?
yes, and say something.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I'll definitely work on it. Yeah, for the point which you had suggested, it's very important. And the ice breaking point, obviously, yeah, if I can put it in the first slide, definitely it would be good. Huh? But yeah, the point came in my mind. I felt that, yeah, why not to put in the sixth or seventh slide? So I put like that way. But yeah, the suggestion which you had given, it's definitely good. I'll keep this thing in mind, and in the next, assignment or whatever it has been given or whatever it will be given, I'll definitely incorporate in that way. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and most importantly here, you are very brave. You are very brave to say that this is my presentation and this is my submission. So first of all, it's a big clap from my side because it takes guts to say in a forum, and it also shows that open-mindedness which is needed when we are making anything involving ICT. So a big shout out to you. Thank you.
Gratitude. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, right. So
Should
I
we go
think
ahead?
yeah, so I think we need to agree that the takeaway of this session was that, I mean, of this example was that we need to plan it at the exact structural and logical points and keep a question that will tie in with the content that has gone before and what is going to follow later on. Yeah. So what do we have next? Yes.
We have next
Yes.
something that I'm very scared of, banking.
Yes. These are very nice examples because I remember that this question, what is the difference between NEFT and RTGS, which I really do not know, but it exactly followed a summary, a very well designed slide, also, I should say, a very pictorial representation of the different types of payments, yes, in banking and all that. So, and then this was sort of a recollect and a compare and contrast level of question. So it was a very well designed and well placed reflection spot. What would have been lovely was the summary of the responses. Was there anything new that you wanted to bring out in the NEFT and RTGS? For example, a good summary point would have been, what would you suggest to someone who is looking for a payment in a particular context, and what would they choose? So the differences between these two actually will determine that, isn't it? Right? I hope I am right from my very limited understanding of banking. So understanding the difference enables us to choose one of the other. Because I get asked this question every time I log in. It says, should you enable RTGS for this beneficiary? And I am so clueless. I just leave it unchecked. So it would be nice if after this question, the summary of the anticipated responses can talk about that. What is the difference and how that impacts your choice of payments? So, do you agree, those of the banking or the commerce sector?
Commerce, yes. See, I'm so silent.
Yes, I think people should take this up.
Anybody from commerce background is because these are the suggestions what we are giving is based on the pedagogical structure, but we are not the
Content experts.
masters of your content, right? So, yeah, if anybody wants to say something, then fine. Otherwise, we can go ahead.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it's a similar.
Yeah. So, this is the next one. Now, can we have it from you all?
Yes. So I think you've been listening to us giving suggestions for quite a long time. So what would be your suggestions for a reflection spot question?
If this is the reflection spot question,
Yes, yes.
has got a
Wow,
lot
that's
of options.
that's great, Sandeep. Yeah, it is. If could you just do a self-assessment? It would be nice if you could sort of think aloud and tell us what you think.
See, the idea was after explaining them the concepts of various businesses, trades,
Hmm.
startups,
Hmm.
entrepreneurs, uh, social entrepreneurs,
Yes.
what and then I want to give them some case studies, some examples, so that they can categorize this can be a normal business or it is a startup business. What is the novelty? Suppose something doing something different, I want to do something new, so that business falls in the category of startup or entrepreneurship. So by giving these examples, idea was to widen the thinking of the student to take the normal business and differentiate how it can they can make it as a startup.
Yes.
Yes.
And
I really hear
it
that
is,
commitment of the teacher speaking.
yeah, yeah.
I
And it
wish they knew this and they could implement it. Yes, that's
actually,
great.
when we read this, I mean, when we were just going through all the submissions, we were like, wow, this has got like, really, this is going to set the students thinking.
Because we
Because,
attempted it ourselves, right?
yeah, and
We tried to
every
do it.
single thing, every example is a different example.
Yeah,
So, definitely students are going to think and students are going to apply what they have done or whatever they have learned in the previous content, as you have said. But there is a but. So, what is that? Let's see just.
Let's try a
Just read the chat.
checklist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is a single concept, and yeah, it was between 10 minutes. Uh, the entire LED would fit in within a
actually
10 minutes or so.
the entire presentation was designed for a week. It is
For
Huh.
a
not a
week.
yeah.
Ah,
Okay,
Actually, I
yeah.
have presented for a week, entire 4 hours course. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So there are
Some,
four subsections. Each subsection is of 1 hour.
yeah, I saw that subsession one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sandeep sir, yeah, could you tell us one thing? If this was a question that popped up in between a video, okay, that you're watching about the nature of businesses, startups and traditional, uh, how long do you think it would take to read this question?
I think it is it is too much, but this was the thing I thought that I can choose some of the thing. These points came into my mind when I was preparing slides, but I should I think I should reduce it to 3 or 4.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can okay, I have something for you. You have to reduce it if you are thinking of using it as a reflection spot, but
yeah.
you can keep it as it is if you were to give it as a practice activity.
Right, right,
yes.
exactly. As an assignment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes. So
Yes.
you have the right format, but for a different activity, which we are
right,
going to
right,
follow up
definitely.
next
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. Okay,
Right.
okay, got it.
Yes. So a suggestion is that if considering that this was your objective, that you want them to think. So why would I say that this is a startup? Why would I say that this is a traditional one? So any one of this example itself, you could say this is a business. So is this a startup or is it a traditional and why? Right? So
Right,
what
Yeah.
is yeah, so that makes it doable in a very short time, in 30 seconds or so,
right, yeah,
right? And it gets your point across in a video.
right. Yeah,
Yes. And when you sum up, you could just say what you told us now, right? About the novelty. So have you considered the novelty? Is it a novel idea? Then it's a startup.
yeah,
So that is what is a reflection, what differentiates a reflection spot from a practice activity.
right.
So yes, that was some great work.
Thank you.
Yeah. And actually speaking, I loved this activity that you have designed, even though it doesn't actually fit into the reflection spot category, okay, because of the duration. But it is a beautiful activity because it actually is talking about Surat. It is actually talking about what students are going to face around it. because as we all know, Surat is nothing but it's a capital of textiles. So all the questions that are here are something that the students will actually relate to. I mean, be it a garbage dumping of near Tapi, or be it about drug, I mean, the dyes and the herbal dyes, every single question that you have framed is about the context in which the students live. And that is why this is a wonderful, wonderful activity. In fact, it could be a wonderful assignment, and nobody would even copy because there is no chance to copy. Everybody's answer would be different. So this is like just a wonderful activity, but not an artist, as you yourself came to know. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
So should we go ahead? Yeah.
Yes. Right. So now we have
Again, we are opening it up for others. Now we are not going to say anything, right?
Yes, yes. So based on all the suggestions and all the discussions that we've had so far, what would be your suggestion for this reflection spot? Yeah, that's fine. But I think, Sandeep sir, you have understood reflection spots, I guess. I think we should leave this open for others to tell us what. But this was in a different submission, right?
Yeah, I think it was in another part.
Okay, so you had said these are 4 sessions. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, like, because it is now it's almost like quite some time that we have been discussing. So
Yes.
even if we are not from the same subject, I guess the others could also answer and try
Yeah.
to rephrase the same thing again.
Yes, yes. So suggestions from all the participants are welcome.
Yeah, and don't worry, Sandeep sir is not going to say कि I mean, मेरे इसको कैसे correction कर सकता है कोई? Nobody is going to say that.
Yes.
है ना Sandeep sir?
Yeah, ma'am. It's always very accepted. Yeah, it is
Yes.
an
Please.
open invitation for everybody.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So it is from his, yeah.
Yeah, Anshu has started answering.
Okay, that's great. Yes, repurposing of the question. It could be used for discussion forum because it is going to invite quite a lot of diverse opinions.
Lovely.
Yes, yes. And it would take time. True. That is true. Yes.
Yeah, if I forget, then Anshu, before we end today's session, I would actually like to ask you something about what you have said just now. But maybe if I forget, just remind, because it
Yes.
talks on the discussion.
Yeah. Yes. So yes, I think we are very eager. We are asking for help here, and it would be good if you could put in your opinions.
So, if the first question that we see here, I mean, the second bullet point, but the first question, what are the 3 things which would vanish in 20 years? Do you want to change this in some way to make it more focused or more specific?
Yes. So you could try that. Or could you try the other one, next one also? Which
Yeah.
of the 2 statements do you think is better? Discuss what will we be happy with in the next 20 years, or share 3 products or service or applications that will remain even after 20 years. So let us say the first one is sentence A and the part in brackets is sentence B. So which do you think is a much more better question for a reflection spot? Is it A or is it B? Okay. Sentence B, right? So, and as always, any question which gives a choice always need some reasoning. So why do you think that is a better reflection spot question than A? If that was used as a reflection spot question, what, why would it be a better reflection spot question? What would be the purpose of the RS question? Okay, A is more apt for discussion, right?
Okay.
Quite right. It's more time consuming, and it is also quite vague. There need to be a specific
Yeah, yeah.
objective
Which
that
I
is
had
brought
said.
out. So yes.
Yeah.
So when we talk about 3 products or applications that will remain, then we also need to talk about what are the, why do you think they would remain? Yes, because that will help bring across the content of the session. And if the subsequent part of the content is something that you're going to talk about, uh, what are the features of anything that is going to stay for a longer period of time? So what will contribute to a longevity in a process or in a business? Then this is an ideal place where you can transition from one part of the content to the other. But for that, we need to allow that question to be there, and it has to be precisely worded so that there is no room for any doubt.
Yeah. So in case of second discussion question, which you asked, what will we be happy about? Because it is more personalized. So they'll feel valued, and I think they'll get more engaged and involved because
Yes.
they have personally, used it, or maybe they're thinking of buying it or using it since last so many years. And the first one, wherein we have written, discuss what are the 3 things which will vanish, which would vanish. Instead of that, if we tell them that any 3 things that you use will vanish, that you feel will vanish in
Ah,
next 2 years, will be more relevant and personalized. I mean, this is my personal opinion. Yeah.
yeah. Because if
Yeah,
we use and they are going to be vanished, then it makes much more relatability quotient becomes suddenly very high, because then we will start thinking that possible, because my the phone also is not going to work even for like 2 years or something. Then what else
Yes,
is going to remain
because
for 20
we
years,
are
right?
we are adding the component of emotional,
Yes.
component also throughout. So I feel that all reflections, whichever has the emotional quotient high, will actually make more sense and will be more impactful also, and that will be more engaging from the point of view of audience. I mean, yeah.
So let's see if the same thing applies to the next
I have
example.
one thing to say here.
Oh, sir has come.
Yeah, Samir. Okay.
Yes.
So reflection spot question also needs to have a sense of challenge, in the sense that whenever we pose a question and the learners are supposed to reflect. Now we are talking about a asynchronous situation also. Sometimes I'm just pausing a YouTube video and then going to answer it myself. But even in that condition, whenever I am kind of thinking of answer, more than giving the answer, I'm curious to know what the instructor is going to say afterwards, and is my answer going to be listed there? So this curiosity quotient is also very crucial, and this question is a good example of that. Because what 3 things? So are the 3 things which come top of my mind will be there, or are the actual 3 things which are going to be instinct after 20 years, or what is the instructor going to take me through in the answer or in the summary that the instructor is going to speak? So this quotient of curiosity and achievable challenge is very interesting, because then people are more engaged now to look forward to the summary part rather than just skipping it. So this I think attributes to one more angle of it. How many of you agree with this? You can speak, because I'm not able to read messages. I'm only able to hear. So in case you have a comment on that.
yeah. So Sandeep sir says that the first question is actually towards inculcating their sensitivity towards misuse of things like fuel. And the second question is to attract the focus to something which they will face in the near future. So the purpose of it was actually to help them to channel and design their future business or startup.
Mhm.
So that was the response.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
you go ahead.
yes,
Okay. So, on to the next.
yes, we had another.
Yeah. So again, the same thing. Now for this, I think we had very nicely placed three reflection spots. And so we picked up this because it was placed, one is very clearly it is mentioned, one at the beginning, one at the middle, and one towards the end. And
A number
let's,
of choices also at the
yeah,
same spot.
yeah.
Yes.
This
So
is very nice. So that if the person, if a student doesn't want to have the one of the choice, then you can actually have, right, something more to think of, right? Yeah. Yes, 11, you were
yes.
saying something. Go ahead.
Yeah, yes. So I wanted to say about it is that this again, when we ask questions, many of them are. We must remember that we are not going to really look at the responses of the learners as we see them. So any of these questions, for example, I will take example 3. Name what are the 3 successful startups in the hospitality industry. So the purpose of this was to include the initial knowledge of the participants, right? So now let us take that reflection spot activity to the fullest. So suppose this learner who's watching the video has thought of has thought of 3 successful startups in the hospitality industry, right? So is that the purpose of the reflection spot? Did we just want them to recall what are the 3 successful startups in the hospitality industry? Or I just have an option to give, and you could tell me whether that will work better. So we can, of course, discuss it. So, would it be nice if we could say, think of a successful startup, what you consider, like ma'am said, give that emotional thing. So, what do you consider a successful startup in the hospitality industry? And why do you think, what was the reason for its success? Or state one reason for its success. So now, most probably, when you are talking about success of startups in an industry, you already have a list of factors that you think are going to contribute to the success of any startup in the industry. So I think that is what the business model must be about. So was it the need based? Was it the accessibility? Was it the cost factor? You already have 3 or 4 options in your mind planned to say that this was a new idea and that was why this started up. So will it be a good idea, so instead of option 3, to say, think of one successful startup in the hospitality industry and write down the reason for the success that you think underlies the success of the industry? Do you think that would be a good reflection, which you could then follow it up with the content that you have planned to talk about what are the innovations that led to the success? So, again, this is an open question. Do you agree or do you not? Agree or disagree? Yes, okay. I think I should
If
ask.
we should have, I mean, the people in law department should actually help us out with this because in law it is said ki if you don't say anything, that means it is yes. I mean, I hear it in the movies and all we have seen it. So should we consider it as yes? Okay.
Agree.
Agree.
Okay, Dr. Richa says agree, right? So
Okay.
yes, the point is that when we use an RS, we actually use all these questions very often during our sessions to, as ma'am said, to bring in that emotional connect, to keep it as an icebreaker, to make it relatable, to make the content relatable. But when we say a reflection spot, it is slightly more than that. I think that was what Sir was also trying to say, that you present them with something that is a bit more challenging, because you involve them not only by emotion but also by some sort of effort of thinking, okay, why do I think this startup was successful, did this work, right? And then we say, then the learner themselves are eager to look forward to what will the instructor say. Is he going to agree with me, or is he going to say no? So that is the concept of the reflection spot.
So
And we,
I just want your inputs on another point, which I just want clarity from your end, that should we limit them and restrict them with the hospitality industry? Don't you think it will be good idea if you just write the top 3 successful startups, and then the next level of question could be like if they mention the industry, and then on what dimensions, because some are good because they are cost effective, some are good because they have better reach and better sustainability. So do you think that giving them some restricted keywords will actually give them, I understand Sarah has already mentioned about the challenge component,
hmm.
but I feel that if we just keep it open ended, they'll have more ideas, and then we can filter it to that particular respective industry. I mean, this is what I
Yeah,
feel.
yeah, totally
Um,
agreed, ma'am. Yeah, that's agreed. But I will just say why I think this has come up. It is because the entire topic, which is covered over a week or over an hour, is something about only the businesses as a general word, as you have said. It doesn't really focus only on hospitality. But this LED, which is supposed to be a smaller component of the entire one, focuses only on hospitality industry. I think that is my
yeah,
understanding of the.
yeah. I think this is like made by the people for the Department of Hospitality and Hotel Management or something
Okay,
like
okay, okay, fine, fine. Yeah.
So that is why they have put it that way. But your point is
that.
totally taken. Yes, that is how it will work.
Because
So
what would happen is if we don't stick to the actually the departments or the the discipline, then it could also go much beyond what the follow-up content is going to come, right? So again, there would be a disconnect felt by the learners. So I think this is by the hospitality department. So it
Mhm.
suits because yeah, I do get that the second, the one that is in the middle reflection spot, that doesn't mention very clearly the hospitality industry. That's the only one. Otherwise, you can see it's almost everywhere it is the hospitality industry.
yes,
Okay, so moving ahead, here comes now something very interesting. Okay, very eye-catching is the actual correct word. Come on. So this is from physics. Most of the people are scared of the subject, but uh, this was a very nice content. So
yeah, it was a very
Ilavanil has got something to say about it, and
yeah,
then I.
it was a very nice submission, and we wanted to actually put this up because we just wanted to showcase the fact that a discussion of responses need not only be something that we type in, but it can be equally effective when we use a pictorial summary of what we are trying to convey. Yeah, yes, Dr. Nick
Yes,
did.
Nick.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, great. So it was very well done, right? And I think the concept, even in this very these two pictures, they have brought out the concept of opposing forces and all that, which you have taken up after the after
and
this reflection spot.
yeah, and basically, actually, it's not even the image; it's the GIF,
Yes, GIF. I
right?
have used tried
Uh,
to use GIF.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and that is like that gives you brownie points, because that is something which is very, very relatable to the students. I mean, that just makes it, yeah, it's, you're just catching the pulse of the students, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yes, yes.
yeah, that is actually the word, to catch the pulse, because every day they talk in that terms. So,
Yes.
we all talk in those terms, but yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what is the beauty of this, and why are we like highlighting this particular thing, that it's not just the images of the, there's something more to it. Anybody who wants to think that why have we picked up this particular thing, and how is it different from the earlier ones? This is different. The earlier ones are also good, but this is, there is a slight distinguishingly different part that is included here. Other than the GIF and image, forget about that. But there is something else. Anybody wants to try? Somebody? Okay. Mm. Can you take it a little bit further? What type of summary? Ah, yes. Arpita has it right. And something more. Ilavanil. She's like waiting for her turn to say it. Yes, Ilavanil, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Amita, I'll just clarify that. Amita's also. The reflection spot question was in fact asked through a question. This is the discussion slide. This is the discussion slide or after the reflection spot. Yes. So,
I think it could be the best light to differentiate between different forces like resistance and, I mean, I'm not a science student, so I can still guess that, just to differentiate, so that because pictorials are very much self-explanatory, and I think they actually take us to the right direction of thinking also. So there is less scope of, getting misinterpreted about the situation, because we can easily see that one person is pulling from this side, pushing from this side, and other is this side. So we may reach to some kind of differentiation of forces that generally we see in our day-to-day life. I think this is the best way to have a very basic level of discussion with the students who have no understanding of science as a stream, but yes, we all have seen it in our day-to-day life. So I think they can easily connect with it very beautifully. So this is what I feel.
yes,
Yeah.
true. I think all those points you have highlighted, ma'am. I mean, the applicability, the involving of memory, because it is something that they see every day. The forces that can be, it opens up the way to a lot more content which the instructor would like to share. Yes.
Yeah, actually speaking, what Arpita had said is actually correct, because this particular part, the content actually, the just before this, it was that whenever there is force applied, it causes motion. So, people are applying force and the car moves, but there's also a negative example. So, in other words, we are, as a reflection spot, why this is an excellent reflection spot is because it also gives us all the chances to include every single possibility that could be there. So that is something which is very, very important. Uh, in in the way in which that we have to think that not always everything that is mentioned in the textbook is complete. We need to have something more also. And giving chance for negative examples is actually a chance of learning it in a fully wholesome manner. Uh, Nikit sir, do you agree? I mean, it's your
Yeah. No, 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 absolutely, absolutely. Even I'm feeling like you are praising a lot of my work, which I was also not able to judge in some instance. Okay.
see, that is
Yeah.
actually it's not about like praise or
Yeah.
this. See, every single person, be it Science and you, be it Sandeep, be it you,
Yeah.
everybody has given it so much of thought, and
Yeah.
everybody is so open about it. So,
Yeah.
in the field of academia, it's very heartening to see that people from the same institute are actually helping each other to make it better. So that is, and it's a really nice thing. So
Yep.
just let's moving ahead. So Ilavini will.
Yeah, so that's just a quick summary because we have something lined up which is interesting.
Yeah.
So please ensure that I think all of you, all of us must take a look at our LED scripts again, because we did have some scripts which were just the scripts that we use in our day-to-day classes without any reflection spots. So please put in a reflection spot, connect it up with the content that has been explained, ensure that it can be answered in a few seconds, within a minute, and try to make the best out of the reflection spot. Decide what you are going to talk about, what you want the learner to really think about, and make him look forward to the content which follows it. Because he needs to know the answer. Even if he's going to scrub through that video at 2x speed, he must at least listen to, okay, what was the answer for that? What did the instructor have to say for that? So this closing the loop helps us to make this a dialogue and bring the learners into the content of the video. Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's one more question. I'm quite sure that most of you would have had in their minds, because this is very frequently asked. Should we grade the RS?
Yes. Do you
Should we
think
grade
there
it?
should be marks? What do you think?
Now we have tools which will not allow the student to go ahead till you get a certain amount of marks or something like that. So would you grade your RSS? There is an answer, but I can't see the answer because I'm sharing.
Yeah. No. The answer is no. Okay, we have many no's.
Why?
Okay, there we go again.
Yeah.
Right.
Why?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Why? So do someone?
What sort of teachers are we all? Huh? We don't want to give marks.
Might be following the Three Idiots concept, not to grade anyone.
Okay.
Okay, because RS helps them in understanding clearly. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do we?
Yeah, that's what we have.
Great. Yes, true. So I hope we keep this message that the prime purpose of a reflection spot is to have learner engagement in a video, or maybe you can even adapt it to a face-to-face class. But the purpose is learner engagement, and it is not intended as an evaluation or assessment of learning. And as you've said, at the end, we can grade them. Yes, we can have formative and summative assessment tools later on, but the RS is not one assessment tool. Yes. So what is important to remember is that designing a RS and looking at an RS, going through an RS, needs to be an engaging learning experience for the learner and the instructor. And we have two such instructors with us today, right?
Yeah. And we are not going to talk a lot because we want to again ask you something. So, and even our guests, they also do not know what we have done. So, welcome two of our guests from Savitribai Phule Pune University. Okay, Dr. Tripti Rani and Dr. Amita. Okay, so Dr. Amita comes from Department of Economics. And what do you think would be the department of Dr. Tripti Rani? Because we have seen team submissions and pair submissions and group submissions. What do you think? कि आप किन के साथ pair कर सकते हैं? Like whom all you can pair?
Yeah, Ajita, I think I want to give some more a small concept also here.
Yeah.
Dr. Trupti and Dr. Amita collaborated, as Ajita said. They form part of a team who submitted an LED script, like we do have some team submissions. And they came up with a very nice script and a reflection spot question. So on their topic, which they chose, right? So now, yeah, please go ahead and say,
Yeah.
okay,
Try to
So
think.
maybe behavioral science. I think economics and behavioral science will go very well, because I think then that's the need of the hour also. Yeah.
Okay, we'll give you 5 chances, not more than that. Okay, let's make it something like that. So, well, it's not behavioral sciences.
Mm.
Okay, I was going to say 3 chances, but we have like quite a number of people, so we'll make it 5.
please do give us some guesses.
Yeah,
What would be
Anshu
good?
says it is IT. No? Okay, the hint is in the icon.
English, maybe communication.
You're close, but not yet there. Okay, statistics. Oh, no, no, no. So look at the icon. Look at the icon. Do you see statistics anywhere?
Hmm, it's
Law.
Okay. No.
Literature.
Yeah,
Uh,
close.
close. She already said English, right?
I think we should come up
Yeah, we
with the
should call
answer.
in
Ask
Trupti. Yes. So, Trupti, are you here? Will you
Yes,
unmute
yes,
yourself?
yes.
And the moment you say your department, I'm going to like
Yes,
go with this. Yes.
yes.
Please
Hello,
say.
everyone. Thank you, Ajita madam. Thank you, Ilavenil sir. Thank you, Sahasra Buddhe sir.
No, what is your department?
What is the department? Yeah.
I'm very happy to see people are responses, IT department, statistics, law, literature, all departments. I am
Yeah.
from a department of Pali and Buddhist Studies, Savitribai
Oh.
Pune University.
Yeah. So how did it work? Teaming up with Pali and economics, and how do you develop your script? What was your topic of the script? Tell us that first. Yeah.
Yeah, just as we had a session today on LED, that is learning dialogues. So I am here since 5 p.m. I am hearing all the session. I'm very keen to listen to Ajita madam, Ilavenil madam, and they were sharing the LED, which LED submissions. Even we also went through the same process. And it was, they had mentioned that we have to do a group submission. So at that point of time, it happened I thought, what should I do now? Then then I posted, we had a WhatsApp group of our session that we would like to have some collaborative activity. Like if anybody is keen on joining, then we can work together. So then it happened that we have our madam, Dr. Amita madam. So she was also very keen in joining. Then we both decided to have a pair. We both decided to work together. And then the actual journey started. Then, I am from Department of Pali and Buddhist Studies, and Amita madam is from Department of Economics. So after that, we decided to work together, and then that's where we thought of coming up with some combination which we both can come together at one point and come up with some activity. So I think Amita madam is also here. Amita
Yeah.
madam can continue.
Yeah, so very feeling very nice to be part of this.
Yes,
It's
yes.
bringing back all my memories of the course we did. It was quite exciting, and I'm so happy to see the enthusiasm of the participants of this time and all their LED scripts. I really enjoyed looking at that. So thanks for making me a part of this, Ajita ma'am and Ilavenil ma'am, and Sahasra Buddhe sir also. So, just to continue where Trupti left, actually, from my department also, there were a few participants, but I could not form a part of any group. So, I was looking for somebody to work with, and Trupti also didn't have anybody to work with. So, we kind of joined up. And the fact that we were from such diverse discipline, I think, was the least of our problems actually. So we didn't, I mean, it didn't occur to us that, oh, I mean, how can we collaborate since our disciplines are so different. So we never let it, I mean, that come in the way. We decided that yes, we wanted to work together, and we just took it up, and then we started scratching our brains as to what we could do, which could, kind of cover both the disciplines to some extent. And then Dr. Trupti came up with this idea that can we work on corruption, because she found some references to it in her Pali literature, and she said that she can bring in something from there, and corruption can be linked to economics also. So we said, yeah, I said okay, fine, because I was it was although I didn't know exactly how I was going to relate corruption and economics. Of course it's related, but still, but I said fine, let's see how it works. And so from there we took off, and I think we really enjoyed doing what we did.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
initially, yeah.
Like we just had this like interaction sessions, and we had just given them an idea that okay, since this is coming from some ancient philosophy, can you all do something like economics during that period? And we had left it at that. But coming up, like finding actually references of corruption during that time, that also is solid research work. And agreeing upon both of you, I would like you all to share, if possible, with all our participants today, even if briefly, that were there any points when one of you had to give up on your idea, and like usually it happens with all the teachers. We are also all teachers only. So, what I want should be there in the script. Does it happen, or did it happen? How did you all manage to move across it?
Yeah, initially we had one topic. I think Amita madam, we discussed about wealth management and how money can be earned and how money can be utilized. Like in Pali literature, we have some references in some suttas where the literature says about, like Buddha says about, like when a householder earns wealth, how that wealth can be divided into four parts. Like two parts of that wealth should be involved in multiplying the money. One part should be used for daily use. Like this is the advice given to the householders. So we thought, like we were discussing that can we come up with like any advice for the householders from the ancient related to money. Again we had some discussion and about money. Then when there is money, then there is corruption. So these are some of the issues, and I think Amita madam then agreed upon, or she also had. Yes ma'am, Amita madam.
Yeah. So actually, frankly speaking, I didn't have any ideas because I didn't know what to, what will work with Pali kind of thing. So I was kind of just ready to do whatever, we come up with. And actually, it was Dr. Trupti who suggested, can we work on corruption? So I said, fine. So then I said, let me look up. And she said that there are some ancient, thoughts on in Pali literature about how corruption, how to deal with corruption and things like that. So I said, okay, fine. So I also said, let me, if we are going to ancient literature, then let me look at ancient literature in economics. So I turned to the Arthashastra and Kautilya's Arthashastra, and I took some points from there. And I found that I knew, and I found how he discusses, how to deal with corruption and things like that. So then we kind of structured it around that, and I think we came up with the LED on corruption, thoughts on corruption in from ancient Indian literature.
Was a wonderful title, and I think you have a company. We have Meghna ma'am talking about joint collaboration between School of Business and Liberal Arts.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
they
yes.
already have that.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
That's great. A
Oh, wow,
finance
great.
faculty and a psychologist. I think this
And also,
this is a very good pair. Yeah.
Yes. Also, the idea of working on corruption was also, I got interested also because it's so relevant. I mean, so,
Yes,
even if it is about ancient thought and, I thought it'll be interesting to do it. So,
yes,
although, if I had done it in my own discipline, I would have done an LED on something like more, say, very specific to economics, which probably other people from other disciplines won't be able to understand so easily, so say inflation or things like that. But this is something we got an opportunity because of this collaboration to work on something which is so relevant even today, kind of thing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for joining in and giving these inputs.
Yes.
We
Yes.
thought of calling our guests today because that gives a sort of an insight to people who might yet not be very comfortable of doing an interdisciplinary collaboration. So thank you, Trupti, and thank you, Amita, for joining in and sparing your time with us. And I'm quite sure that people are actually now thinking about,
yes.
okay, if this can happen, something more also can happen. So,
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Samir
Thank you.
here.
Thank
So
you.
quick,
yes,
Yes.
quick word. So this is also an example that people at Oro can also expect a call from us when we are conducting the similar thing from somebody else now. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Now
you
let's.
for
Thank
Yes.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
okay. So we have today, like what's the journey so far that we have done? Yeah,
Yes.
11.
Yeah, so we think that most of the submissions, looking at the submissions, we see that most of you have got the chunking part of the content right, but you might require more work on inserting reflection spots and maybe tweaking them and doing some minor corrections till you get it, make it really effective so that we get the engagement. But okay, considering that, you would you like, I think many of you did say that we would work on it. And I think that's a nice thing. If you could self assess your submissions based on the checklist items that we have shared, and you could use today and tomorrow morning to rework a bit of the slides and the reflection spot. And you could send it across to one of your colleagues for review. Right now that you have been through this process with us for the past
Yeah,
long
ma'am.
hours.
I have a question. Like when we're talking about reflection spots, we talked about the pictorials to be placed over there. We talked about the text. So I was just thinking that can we have some audio or some audio reflections also over there, so that just to innovate more on the reflections part, so that people should get connected, because many times many of the people may not have ability to read it properly, or just to articulate it properly. So can we have the another innovation of some audio reflection spots, wherein somebody's just talking and they are just introspecting? So can we do that also? Yeah.
Samir sir would like to say something here.
Definitely.
I'm just waiting for him to maybe unmute his
Yeah,
mic.
most certainly, no problem. Audio parts is a very good idea. It can be used. It all actually boils down to how you want to creatively utilize this POTS point. Like we discussed, structural or logical. So the creativity is enormous. Actually, we can. In fact, I remember in the early days of our quiz shows, there used to be people used to look forward to a audio round, like whose
Yes.
voice
Yeah.
is this
Yeah.
Yes,
or something like that, right? So it was slightly different than the quiz, but the moment it went on television and people had explored this medium, so these things are quite possible. The point is that we should use the technology to support our creativity and not vice versa. So, if we can envisage a particular reflection spot which has a strong roots into the audio part of it, why not? Like definitely. In fact, I can think of a music lecture or something like that. So I would like to just say that okay, so I have played aro of a particular type of ragas. So can you let me know which all ragas can be associated with this formation of notes, or can you think of movie songs based on the pieces that I have just now played for you? Instead of saying like Sare Mapa Nisa, so what are the film song based on Sare Mapa Nisa? So Sare Mapa Nisa, when Samir says it, has no value actually. So it only has value when it is played in that audio format. So yes, obviously, there are multiple things which are possible. Thanks, actually, it's a nice way.
Yes. Yes, so I think once we do, we are
Yeah.
ready to
And
have engaging LEDs with audio and images and
yeah,
yes, well,
actually, once this thing of LEDs is like clear to everybody, still there is always one question that, okay, I might have a very good LED, like, with all the check boxes, all ticked off. I have another one. But what do I do between two of them? Is it going to be like scattered? Is it going to be something like that? So that is where the LCM model actually comes in, because it will not allow things to be scattered. It will not allow things to remain as isolated chunks. Even though we are saying that an LED has to be chunked, but again, it has to be in a place as a big picture, and there has to be something more which can connect two LEDs or something, and that is LBDs. That is the learning by doing, which we are going to do tomorrow, right, 11?
yes, yes. So this is the big, I think, looking by the submissions, there are many experts on LBDs, on designing LBDs. Yeah, so let us take a closer look tomorrow on how we can work on LBDs, so that learning is a part of multiple, there are multiple constituents, and LED is just one part, as Ajita said. And the LCM model keeps everything together, and we will be looking at LBDs tomorrow. Right.
Yeah, and just to answer Sandeep sir, yes, it is also about resources, but it is also about picking up the correct resources. So once we start talking about the low cost, low bandwidth devices and highest accessibility, if that is dealt with, definitely we can give many choices so that nobody remains out. So all the resources to be used correctly. With this, I think we come to an end.
Yeah, yeah, and we will also be looking forward to any further LED resubmissions that you would love to work on.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Should I stop my screen? Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Thank
See
you.
you tomorrow.
Thank you all.
Yeah, see you
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks Trupti and
Amita.
Amita, right, from SPPU for your inputs. That was really nice of you.
Thank you, sir. Like we had, I think, journey till here. I mean, right, Amita madam?
Yes. It was very interesting. We really enjoyed, and today's
Yes, yes,
session also I enjoyed really.
yes,
It
yes.
was,
We enjoyed it.
so
Yes,
Great.
great,
And
nice.
yeah,
yes,
I think that part I really loved where you collaborated for doing it, but that is more like become a case study for us because
yes,
never happens so I just realized that maybe that would be nice, and my team immediately picked up from that queue and they said, sir, why don't we call them only rather than showing their LED? Why not we call them only? And then we said, okay, but it's a short notice, but I'm
yes,
really happy to see both of you there. And I missed out on your explanation part, but I would definitely go through the recording once I
yes,
get back. Yeah.
Yes, sure, sir. We're looking
Thank
forward
you
to
very
that,
much.
making
Yes.
it.
yes,
Yes.
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 Please
Thank
join
you.
in tomorrow if you have time. And yeah, any
Yes,
inputs are welcome.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, sir. Thank you, 11L madam. Thank you, Ajita madam.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.